It's second time this year we become bowl eligible, being 5-7 in league play with over a 3.0 team GPA. That means we're bowl eligible at this time of year. We were bowl eligible in December. Now we're bowl eligible again. So it's fun times. But on a serious note, obviously a good win for us at Georgia. Quick turnaround, travel again. Guys were really locked in yesterday, as they've been pretty much for the most part for the last month. Planning on having a good workout today and get on this plane and go over there and take on another opportunity to get a road win in the SEC play, which every one of those is huge. And it's a building that historically our school has not played well in, including in my time here. I think we've won there one time since I've been there. And even that game, we didn't play real well. We just finished the game on a crazy run to win the game. So, but with all that said, excited about what's in front of us here.
David?
How's it going, Frank? Thanks for doing this. Devin obviously had a really good game against Georgia. Just how did you see him throughout the game kind of handle, not having to run the offense? Do you think that maybe kind of freed up his mind to say, don't worry about that, just go do a score and do what you do best?
Yeah, a little bit of both. He played some at the point. He played most of his minutes off the ball. But it's at the end of the day, my vision has always been, since 1990, I've said this before, play the game with as close to 2 point guards as you possibly can. And that for me all started watching the Pistons back with Isaiah and Joe Dumars. Playing Devin at the point predominantly for the last month or so, whatever it's been, has made him understand the game a certain way, has made him understand the importance of structure. And now Jermaine, just playing well again, confident, at peace with himself. Now you can play him and Jermaine, him and Kobe and Jermaine. So it's the closest thing we've had all year where we can play two guys at a time that both play with a point guard skill set and mindset.
Colin?
Different, kind of sticking with it. Do you plan on keeping Jermaine in the starting lineup moving forward? And just when he's playing well, what does he give you from a experience, from a personality standpoint when he's at the point?
Colin, I've said this before. I get the fact that he didn't have a good year last year. Neither did I, neither did our team. But he's an established double-figure scorer in the SEC. I mean, he's one of the picked by coaches, one of the top 5 freshmen in the league 2 years ago. I mean, he's a good player, man. It's not having him around. Every other team in the country, when one of their senior point guards is missing, everyone understands that complicates things. For every team except ours. For ours, it's like, it's no big deal. He's not around. Who cares? Play somebody else. He's a real good player. And him not being healthy and his body betraying him and coming off the complicated things that he's been through for the last year and a half has made it hard for him to be at peace, to have the success that he's capable of having. But he's in a good space right now. And, against Georgia, he did not shoot the ball well. But yet his voice was unbelievable. And I said this after the game, when Jermaine is good, he doesn't shut up. And he doesn't shut up with the things that matter, not the things that don't matter. And right now he's fully engaged and his mind's in the right place. He's at peace with his body. His body feels good. And you go in the weight room when he's lifting and he's lifting hard again, and you hear his voice nonstop, and you come to practice and he's the same way. It's having a senior 3-year starter at the point is a world of difference on any basketball team.
Michael and Anna?
Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were talking about using a zone, I think, during the team's Final Four run in 2017. And I'm just kind of curious how that zone, that scheme compares to the one that Chuck and you kind of concocted this summer, and if you plan on continuing to use that zone going forward and how that might come into play the rest of this season.
Yeah, the makeup of that team was different. And what I mean by that is Sindarius was 6'5", but he was 6'8", I believe, 6'9" reach. PJ was 6'6", 6'7", with a 6'9" reach. Dwayne Notice was 6'4", with a 6'6" reach. And then in the back, you had Kotsar and Chris, who were just dynamic defenders as far as their ability to move and cover in space and get from A to B. And so we played a 3-2 zone that year. And that zone was really, really good to that team. Well, we don't have that dynamic right now. Our bigs don't cover corners as well as Kotsar and Chris Silva, and even Sidi Keita, who was on that team, could really get out and move his feet and go cover the corner. Our bigs don't cover corners as well as the bigs on that team. And then our perimeter guys are not as long. So playing a 3-2 zone, when you play a 3-2 zone, you're exposing the corners and you're exposing the middle of the floor, right in the heart of the defense. And if you don't have length, it's hard to protect the middle of the zone. So playing a 2-3 zone was a better option for this team, I felt. And long story short, I don't like the passive nature of 2-3 zones. When Chuck convinced me over the summer to give this zone a look as we entered this year and we tried it, I really liked it. And I kind of put it on his plate and I let him run with it. And he's coached it up and he's taught me the intricacies of the zone. He's taught the players and the players believe in it. And I've committed practice time to it. I believe in it for this team. And so it's really helped us.
Mike Uva?
Frank, as you guys make this final push down the regular season, I mean, is there any talks internally? Is there any talks that you have to tell your players about just either, you bring up postseason play, whether it be the tournament, whether it be the NIT, or is that something that you guys are just trying to do, take everything just day by day? Is it as cliche as that?
I speak generally about postseason, but I don't give targets for postseason because, Mike, what happens if I say, hey, we got to get to 9 league wins and we get to 8, now you have a deflated team going into the conference tournament. If I say we got to get one more win and we have to go win at Ole Miss and we don't, now we got a deflated team to play at home next Saturday. So I give them a general statement, which is what I've tried to convince the team of after the Kentucky game. It's no longer a 30-game season. It's a 7-game season. And we're in a good spot. We're not in a great spot. We're in a good spot. We're not in a bad spot. Some teams are in a bad spot. Some teams are climbing a very steep hill late in the year. Well, we're in a good spot. And, we got opportunities in front of us. And we just have to take it one day at a time and not overreact to a good day or a bad day. And we've got to lay it on the line, what is it, 6 more times, I think, plus conference tournament. And at the end, let the chips fall where they may, and I believe in this team. I believed in this team with its approach in the summer. And as we got into the season, my commitment and belief in this team's only gotten stronger, and they're the same way. So I'm excited to see what these next 6 bring to us.
Colin?
Frank, you kind of mentioned not playing well at Ole Miss. Just from this year's team, as you break down film, what stands out about them and how hard is it going to be to try to contain that kind of 3-headed backcourt with Fagan, Joyner, and Murrell? Yeah,
it's going to be hard. I mean, last year we didn't do a very good job of defending 2 of those guys because Fagan wasn't there. But it's going to be a challenge. All 3 of them are proven SEC players. Murrell shoots the cover off the ball. Fagan is an interchangeable player with incredible experience from his time at Georgia. And then Joyner's just he's as quick twitch a guard as we have in the SEC. I mean, he gets from A to B as fast as anybody in this league, with or without the ball. So it's that's going to be the challenge. The challenge going to, kind of keep those guys in check so they're not running wild, and then we have to rebound the basketball. That games that we rebound, we give ourselves a chance. And it's one of the disappointing things about the Kentucky game, not scoring enough, is that we grabbed 22 offensive rebounds, and but in the second half we converted 12 offensive rebounds in the second half into 2 free throws. We've got to score. Now we got to rebound, but at the end of the day, we've got to score. We went to Georgia and scored 80. You got a chance to win. We can't go into Ole Miss and score 56 and expect to win. We got to make shots, and we got to score.
Gene Sapakoff.
Hey, Frank, thanks for doing this. A couple questions. You mentioned the Legends Weekend that's coming up. I realize it's incredibly hard to get to the NCAA tournament consistently, but why do you think South Carolina over the last 50 years, or I guess more particularly in your tenure, hasn't been able to get there more consistently than once every several years? And then my second question is just, how is your health right now?
Gene, I don't really have an answer for your first question. It's an incredible dynamic. It's it's a great fan base. It's a great school. It's great people. You've had incredible coaches here. Frank McGuire, George Felton was a hell of a coach. He just decided to get out of the business and get to the NBA side. Dave Odom, you can say Dave's a Hall of Famer. Eddie Fogler, you can say Eddie's a Hall of Famer. Just incredible coaches that have been here. And every one of those I've mentioned has had that window of success, but sustaining success has gotten really complicated. Gene, here's what happens. I've been here. This is my 10th year. So if you eliminate the COVID year because of everything that's going on, that means that there's 8 other years to judge our postseason in. And then the year before, we had 18 wins going into the conference tournament. Based on our metrics, we're 1 win away from getting into the NCAA tournament. But no one went to the NCAA tournament. So now you go back another year. So now I've been here for 7 years. So if you eliminate the first 2 years, I wasn't going to cheat, Gene. Some people like cheating. Good for them. I'm not cheating. So I wasn't going to build our program on shortcuts. So if you eliminate the first 2 years, which you couldn't have brought Pat Riley in here and gone to the NCAA tournament unless you cheated to get players. Now we're down to 4 or 5 years. And in that window, it's actually 6. If you go the year before COVID, the previous 6 years, it's the winningest 6-year period this school's had since the 70s. If you go in that window and just isolate, and then you can say, well, you play more games and more non-conference games and you play bad teams. Okay, so let's go to SEC play. So in those 6 years, if you go to just SEC competition, we had the 3rd most SEC wins of any team in the SEC. Kentucky led the charge. Florida had 54, I believe, and we had 51 over a 6-year period. So I share those numbers with you because we've had success, but yet getting in that NCAA tournament has been complicated. It's part of it is non-conference play. When I was at K-State, we never lost at home in non-conference play. At South Carolina, we've had some tough losses in non-conference play against. You schedule good opponents. You can't schedule ducks every year. You got to schedule good teams, and when you do, maybe non-conference home court advantage hasn't existed. We our building is humongous. And, you put 8,000 people in there and it really doesn't have an atmosphere. Yet at Auburn, 8,000 people makes it look like what they call it, the jungle. It's complicated. I don't know if I have an direct answer for you on that one. I've never sat down and tried to figure out why so many unbelievable coaches before me have not been able to sustain winning. And then your second question, Gene, was, I apologize.
How's your health, Frank?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm as good as I've felt. I haven't felt this good. See, Gene, before the COVID year, I had a really bad knee, and I was struggling to sleep because of the pain. And I'm not a painkiller guy. I don't do painkillers and pills and all that stuff. And so for about a year, walking had gotten really complicated. I couldn't work out, so my weight had gotten up. And then the COVID year, obviously COVID hit, the pandemic, and then that kicked my, not once but twice. And and then last year it was complicated, man. It's I'd never been around losing, so my health wasn't good. We were losing. I didn't have a fight in my gut to go fix it. There are obviously other issues that all of you guys are aware internally that just kind of beat me up a little bit. But these kids came in, man, and they revived me. My health is good. I'm working out again. My weight's down again. I'm as excited about coaching as I've been in a long, long time. It's I'm at peace mentally, and I'm healthy physically. I appreciate you asking.
John Whittle.
That 1997 SEC championship team was obviously really special to a lot of people around here.
Yeah.
I know you're a math guy, but you're also a pretty good basketball historian too. What do you remember about that team? Maybe not in the moment, but just kind of researching them and getting to know them through your time here. And what's kind of the most impressive thing about what they were able to do?
Yeah, I remember watching that team play on television, and number one, it was bonkers inside the Coliseum every time those guys played. I mean, the atmosphere that you talk about, home court advantages, that was incredible. What I used to see on television in the McGuire Coliseum where we practice at now. And then those three guards, man, they were electric. I mean, Melvin Watson, good luck keeping him out of the paint. BJ Mackey, somebody had to close out on him. BJ was getting fouled, man. He never missed a free throw. And then Larry just never missed a shot. And and then they had the 4 and the 5s. Eddie played, like 3 or 4 different guys there, and they were all long and athletic and smart. And his 4-man can always make a shot to complement Melvin Watson driving the basketball. Unbelievably coached. Fogler, to piggyback on Gene's question, I don't know. Eddie was as good a coach as there was in the country. I mean, it's frustrating to me that he isn't, celebrated around here more. Dave Odom the hell of a basketball coach. Dave Odom went to NCAA tournament, won back-to-back NITs here. And you rarely ever hear anyone mention the fact that he coached here. Those guys should be celebrated more, man. And that, John, that's been a big part of my, with the Legends Weekend over the last, 9 years, 10 years. No, we didn't do it last year. So 8 of the 10 years is celebrating those former guys. We celebrated the 97 team. I believe it was a 25-year anniversary. And it's the first time that team had been honored. That's just incredible to me. But if you ask me now, and Gene's got me thinking, we go to a Final Four, 5 years ago, that team was never celebrated in any way, shape, or form on or off campus. No one ever celebrated the accomplishments by that team anywhere. And that's a shame. That's a shame that happened, but that's not a question for me to answer. I'm hired to coach, not to organize parades and celebrations. My job is to recruit and tell the story for you guys to understand the journey our players are going through, and then get our players to play for one another, not for themselves. And but I'm excited, man. I'm excited to have those two teams. All the legends back on campus for the weekend, it's going to be hard for BJ to be here. I don't think he can come because I think they got a game. Larry Davis. It all depends on whether or not his high school team's playing in a playoff game. But those guys are fun to watch, man. I was an Eddie Fogler fan back then. Eddie did it the right way. He didn't cheat. He colored inside the lines. He coached his teams. They played beautiful basketball, and that team was a great representation of that.
Colin.
Yeah, Frank, kind of sticking with that, but you mentioned being in a good but not great place. You're playing two teams within, I think, a game or two of you in the league standings. Legends weekend this weekend. Obviously, the official visitor coming in. How big, from a big picture outlook and a this season outlook, is this weekend to honor those guys, to have the official visitor and to play two teams and jockey for seeding in the SEC?
Yeah, I mean, Colin, I don't go out and look at the whole schedule because every game is so hard in this league that I'd go home and bang my head into the wall because I think we never win again. So I just go one game at a time. But the next 5 games, they're all against teams that we're all jumbled up with right now. It's not just the next 2; it's the next 5 because Alabama's right there. Who's the other one? Mississippi State's right there. Obviously LSU, and so is. Ole Miss is a game behind that, but they're just 2 wins away from being right in that mumbo jumbo, especially with, they're playing some of these schools that I just mentioned. So that's why I'm saying we're in a good place. If we had 2 league wins right now, we wouldn't be in a good place. If we had to go play at Kentucky, at Tennessee, at LSU, we'd be in a complicated place right now. But we with no disrespect to the teams left on our schedule, we're not playing the top, 2 or 3 teams in the league right now. Or we do play at Auburn, but that's the last game of the season. I'm not about the next 5 games. They're all teams that we're kind of in that window with. So it's there for us. That's where I mean from a good place. We're playing the teams that we're compatible with after 12 league games. And it's there for us to create a little separation and keep us in that top third of league standings. And if we can do that, I think we put ourselves in a real good place.
Phil?
Yeah, hey, Frank. I got 3 quick ones for you. As far as the 71 team is concerned, do you know who's coming in? Have you heard back from like a Roach, a Joyce, those kind of guys? Anybody try to reach out to Tom Owens again to do anything with him? Do you know if Fogler's coming in as well with the 97 team? Number 2, as Colin mentioned, I guess it's been well advertised. You got a pretty important official visitor coming in this weekend. How would you describe your approach to in-state recruiting with the top players in the state who've come through in recent years? And 3, since you're bowl eligible, are you going to go Gasparillo, Cheez-Its, or Mayo? What's your choice?
I'm not asking. I'll answer the third one. That's the easy one. I'm not asking Ray Tanner for his opinion on this one. I'm asking you, Phil. Which one do you want me to go to?
Well, if you like mayonnaise, I would love to see you take a mayo bath.
The next time I put mayonnaise in a sandwich will be the first. So that one ain't working. Next. I'll answer the recruiting question first. Oh boy. I got here. We signed Sindarius, Justin Mackey. We signed Jalen Shaw, and we signed PJ Dozier. Those are the top players in the state, respectively, year after year after year. And we signed a young man from AC Florida. Didn't work out. I can't remember his name right now. A couple of years ago, he just got up and left. And I've recruited every big name kid in the state. Some of them I have not gone out as aggressively after because I didn't think it worked if they stayed here. And I don't need to bring a kid in. And I hate using other people because I don't know them, but there was a wide receiver out of Lexington who was unbelievable football player, and staying home was not good for him. That's when I first got to the school. And some kids got to go. But Nick Claxton, they came down to us in Georgia, and that kid called me, and he loved me. He still comes over and hugs me every time he sees me, and as the family does. Heck, his family came over to watch us play this year. But he called me the night before his decision and said, I always dreamt of wearing number 33, just like my dad did at Georgia. And I can't overcome that. What do I do? Zion, Everyone said we had no chance. Somebody interview Zion, ask him that question. Ask him where Carolina stood on his recruitment. We were right there to the 11th hour, and he chose to go to Duke. It's not like we didn't do what we everything in our power to try and recruit Zion. Incredible family, incredible young man. John Morant, unbelievable kid. I was the only high major school to offer him a scholarship. But he chose to go to Murray State. I can't be mad at him. It all worked out for him. I mean, I would have liked to see him on our team. That's why I offered him a scholarship. That's, did I recruit him when he was a sophomore? No. I started recruiting him when he was a junior. And then I'd never missed him bounce a ball the whole summer between his junior and senior year. But it just wasn't meant to be. And so I don't know. I'm in the middle of the season right now. Jacoby's pretty high ranked player in state. No one ever gives me credit for signing Jacoby. It's like he doesn't exist, but yet he was the best point guard in the state last year. It's an interesting dynamic around here, Phil, is everybody wants to speak about the ones that don't come, but nobody ever wants to celebrate the ones that did. PJ, Sindarius, Justin, think about those guys. They're living their dreams as graduates. They played in a Final Four. PJ didn't get a degree, but he's an NBA guy. Sindarius just played in the NBA. He made a choice to go overseas this year. Why aren't those guys celebrated? Why the fact that those guys were the best players in the state and they stayed here? Why weren't they celebrated? Maybe that had something to do with the fact that some of these other guys didn't stay. I don't know. I don't ask players when they call me to tell me they're not coming. I don't ask them why. I'm not interested in to find out why I'm going to get left in the altar. If I'm going to get left in the altar, I got to go find somebody else that wants to join me in the altar. I got no interest in finding out why. But I know two things. I'm not cheating. That's number one. I'm not going to do it. And number two, my assistants worked their tails off, and we've signed really good players. How many pros have we brought in here since I've been here? I mean, it's pretty darn good run of pros, but no one ever speaks about those guys. They want to speak about the 4 or 5 guys we didn't get. And that's Jawan Gary again. I thought Jawan was coming the whole time. We did our part with Jawan. We worked. He chose to go to Alabama. I ain't mad at him. He's in a good place. He plays. He's having a good career there. Good for him. But no one wants to talk about Mike Kotsar, who's killing the Euro League, which is a second best league in the world. And right now he's going to be a first team all-star in the Euro League. The fact that we recruited him, it's an interesting dynamic, Phil. I can't answer for the guys that didn't come here. But nobody ever talks about the ones that did. And I've gotten my fair share of good players out of the state.
And if you can, the 71 team.
Oh, yeah. I believe Coach Fogler will be here, and he said he wants a one-on-one interview with you, Phil. He says that you two guys used to be running mates back in the early 90s, and then things got complicated, and it's time for you two guys to sit down and have a cup of coffee at McDonald's and speak that language that Eddie speaks that only I understand. He wants to get you reacclimated to it. And then the 71 team, not all the guys are coming. Back when we dedicated the street to Coach McGuire, we got them all back except Owens and Roach. There's been contact with everyone again this year. Roach, unless he decides to show up at the 11th hour, he has not led us to believe he's coming. And Tom Owens, the guys, they're trying to track him down. I don't think we've had much success of getting a hold of him.